what's up? Happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of our Falcon and the Winter Soldier review. I almost said WandaVision. Dang, bro, that is crazy. That is wild. What's going on? What's happening? How you doing?
Man, work, it's been a rough week, but I'm alive. I'm here. That's what matters. Allergies
Facts.
killing me. But again, I'm here. I made it. This was a good episode.
Man, this was a great episode.
This was a great episode. An amazing episode. And I would like to know what you feel about it as far as it being your favorite, because I don't think it's my favorite.
For me, it's the best episode of the series thus far, followed probably by we'll see how episode 6 is, but this is definitely my favorite episode of this series thus far. And I think was it episode 2? When do we get Elijah Bradley? When do we first see that? Was that episode 2?
Yes.
I think it was, right? That episode, I want to say those last week's episode was strong, but this is my favorite episode of the series thus far.
I think last week's is still my favorite.
Yeah, because of the Dora Milaje scene that's like one of my top 5 moments in Marvel at this point. So like that's why that one's up there for me too. But I think overall, like this just there was so much just culturally and like I don't know, everything just holistically, the way it was written, the way it rounds out the characters, character development, arcs closing, and all that stuff was like good for me. Like, for them to go back to Louisiana and then we get the family arc, like it's a very interpersonal episode. So I always like those because they're really good for character development. And for me, Sam, his character development in this episode was the best in the series thus far. And so like same thing with WandaVision for me. Those character development episodes, like when we went back into Wanda's past and saw her arc, that was my favorite episode of that series because of the character development. Like whenever I get to understand more about the motivations of a character and I can like understand, what and how and why they do the things that they do, like those are always going to be more impactful, especially if it makes sense to me. Because I like to understand the heroes and the villains from just a character development standpoint when I'm watching these shows. So that's why it's a strong episode for me.
I can agree. And I'll say, I just want to comment on the Dora Milaje comment you made. I agree with you. That was one of my favorite moments in Marvel. And I think that showcased the Dora Milaje power the best out of every scene they've been in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in Black Panther, they were fighting other Wakandans, right?
Yes,
And then in Endgame and Infinity War, they were fighting aliens. That's not to say that the aliens were cool, but they're not actually people. So you can't really appreciate the fight. But them fighting with Bucky and Sam and Lamar and John in episode 3, they shined. Like they couldn't touch them. They didn't break a sweat. Well, eyelash and lipstick on. Like that was super lit to me. Yeah, that was really exciting to see. I was glad we got to see them in this episode, but I had a feeling we wouldn't see them in action again. But it was still exciting to see them. And I also agree on the Sam part. After episode 2, he was looking a little sad puppyish. He was feeling like, dang, the world hates me. I'm a Black man, which isn't not true in this episode, but he looked a little helpless. And then episode 3 did absolutely nothing to, combat in that. But this episode, he got right with his family. He got to speak with Elijah and see what he went through, and by the end of the episode he was able to make a decision for himself, to decide that his happiness as an Avenger and as a fighter and his relationship with the country and how he chooses to fight is based on him and his decisions. No one is going to give him anything. He has to choose that happiness for himself. And you see him do that by the end of the episode.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, well, I hope that a part of that too is the reason why um, Cap, not John Walker. We'll get to John Walker in a bit, but Steve Rogers picked him to be the next Cap, because I think that not only is his just his character, because like we don't really get much into his character in his first appearances in the films. Like, he's really a side character, but we don't really know much about him and what his motivations are. But now you have to imagine, like, Steve, of course, spent a lot more time with him off screen than we do on screen. So he knows a little bit more about who he is as a person and his character, things that we didn't see, happen on screen. So it's good to see a lot of that come through in this series. And like, I think he has a lot of the intangibles that Steve had, and I'm seeing that now in his character more so than I have in his previous appearances in the other films. And for me, that's like cool, because I'm like, now this version of Captain America, which is what he will become, he's different from Steve. He is his own person. He has created his own identity. I understand him as an individual more, so that should come through in his as he takes on the mantle of Captain America. Hopefully, I think that's really what my hope is, that we'll get more of that, like as he balances everything that Isaiah Bradley told him, the things that he's experienced. And like, if all of that doesn't come through moving forward in his character, then I feel like they will have missed the ball or dropped the ball. But I think that because they touch on it in this series, I'm hoping that that's going to be an integral part of his character moving forward, and they don't just have it for this series and then we never touch on it again. Because like, it is very important for not only for like for Sam, but for like black people in general, like in the fans of Marvel, who us black fans that watch and like Marvel, because like we have to experience and see all these things on a daily basis, and it's important that they kind of touch on it when it is, when you are dealing with a black Captain America. Like, it is important that all of these issues are brought to light. It's important, in my opinion, that he is at least aware and is trying to deal with all of that as he carries that mantle.
I don't know if I want him to be Captain America at this point. Not saying that he wouldn't be deserving of it, but I think he is more than Captain America. And it's clear as the show goes on, and as we saw John lose his mind, it's more about the person than it is the title. It wasn't about Captain America, it was about Steve Rogers. And I keep calling him John Stewart. It's
John Walker.
Seeing John Walker be Captain America proves that. So in a way, I kind of don't want him to become Captain America, because then I don't want him to be labeled as Black Captain America, just like how he was labeled by those kids in the beginning of episode 2. They were calling him Black Falcon. I don't want that for him. I don't want him to be connected to the controversy of being Captain America. I hope that he finds a way to still keep the shield. Well, I mean, it's his, so hopefully he still uses the shield, but is able to be his own thing. And I think that's okay. And I think he can also represent America somehow without being Captain America, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, he's got the thing is, though, he's got the shield, and as long as he has that shield, like, that is what he is going to be. Like, that's the man. Like, he gave his wings to what's my man? I keep forgetting his name. In the episode. So like, and he is, because I forget his name, but he does become like Falcon or young Falcon.
Oh, I didn't know he gave it to him. I just figured like, oh, this is what's left. It's broken. But okay.
No, he gave him the wings because he does become his character does become young Falcon in the Young Avengers. So we're setting up to a lot of the Young
Young
Avengers
Falcon?
stuff. Hmm? I don't know
Young.
if he's young Falcon, but he is. Yeah,
Oh.
he's the next Falcon, basically. Torres is the. But yeah, he's. I think it's good that I like that the amount of depth that that type of story brings to Captain America is not. I think that Sam can still be himself, but he also, as long as he carries that shield, if he's going to continue to carry that shield, he's going to get that mantle that comes with the shield, regardless of whether or not he wants it or not. So to me, if he doesn't want the mantle, then he doesn't need to carry the shield, or at least remake the shield. Like that's going to be the next version of himself. If he wants to use the shield, create a new shield without the stars and stripes, because as long as that shield has a star and stripe on it, it's going to be that's Captain America. That's iconic Captain America.
I'm gonna wait before I touch on that.
Till what last next
Oh, for those who are watching, if you did not know that this episode had a post-credit scene after the credits, just leave now and go watch it and come back. Because you missed something very important.
Yeah, that scene is actually key for the next episode. I'm actually questioning whether or not it should have been a post-credit scene, because they hadn't had any post-credit scenes in this series thus far. This is the first one.
I think it works out great because it's the difference between me being excited this week versus being super surprised next week. Like, I'm wondering, like, did I need to see it? But I'm happy I did see it, because now my idea for what next episode is going to be is a little different. Like, I figured, well, that was your warning. If you did not watch that end credit scene, leave right now before I spoil it.
Yeah, because we'll come back to the end credit scene probably at the end of the episode. Give people time to go check that out if you haven't seen it, because it's going to be very important to next episode. Like, yes. Key, very important.
Can I talk about it now that I told him to go?
You said what?
Can I talk about it now that I told him to go?
No. We'll come back to the end credit scene at the end of the episode. Like we'll save that for like the last 10 minutes of conversation.
All right, so then let's change the subject.
Yeah, let's go back.
Sam's future.
Yeah, let's go back to the first act in the confrontation with John Walker, Bucky, and Sam.
That boy got knocked out. It was a good fight, though. It was a great fight.
Yeah.
I was worried for a minute because although Sam is a great fighter, he is not.
Hold on, I got an idea. If you're watching this, put a 1 in the chat. If you have seen the post-credit scene, just put a 1 in the comment section.
Although Sam is a great fighter, he is not a super soldier. That fight felt a little bit more equal for John and Bucky, except Bucky does have that arm, which gives him a slight advantage. But even with the wings, I felt like Sam was getting tossed around. I didn't like that much at all. And if anything, if it were not for Bucky, I think John would have killed Sam in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he put the shield up to do the same thing that he did in the last at the end of episode 4. I strongly believe that given the opportunity, John would have killed Sam.
Oh yeah, for sure, without question. I think, and I've touched on that a little bit in how John operates. Like, and he said it's actually in his trial when he gets in, because he's not technically court-martialed, but he does get a trial, and he's they take away the title and the mantle, which that happened a little bit different than what I had in my head. But I'm glad that they did touch on that. They didn't like just skip over, but it goes back to what he was saying about you made me, like talking to the government, talking to the senator. Like, this is just how they operate. Like, there's the rules of engagement, and here's the mission parameters. Here is the goal. Here's the objective. at the end of the day, as long as they get the job done, and you know, if things happen and there are no witnesses, then it kind of gets just pushed under the rug. And I was saying, like, he's probably done that type of stuff before in the past, before he even became Captain America, but because there was nobody to record it and he didn't, he wasn't caught in 4K, then he got away with it. So he didn't see it as a problematic, but he's got that habit. And I think to that point, like, because there was no one around to see that fight, like, yeah, if Sam was by himself, John probably would have killed him.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't have, not like, who would have known that it was John? He could have said it was Carly.
Yeah. And they played it again in the flashback from last week. Lamar said that the serum makes you more of who you are. And I do think that John Walker was doing some crazy things before he became Captain America, but he also had an angel by his side who was Lamar, who kept him grounded, who kept him sane. Losing Lamar kind of let that go.
Yeah,
I would argue that
it really unchained him.
Yeah, he might have been a better super soldier if Lamar had not died. He might not be so unhinged and so wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, all on top of that, like him being a actual, like, I can't remember how long he served in the U.S. military, but it had to be some years. He was battle hardened. Steve wasn't battle hardened when he took up the mantle of not Black Panther, but of Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So they entered from two different circumstances, right? So, like, Steve never needed an external moral compass like John does. Like, he was the compass. Like, he already had the moral compass. Like, if anything, he was Bucky's moral compass. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the one that was there to keep Bucky kind of sort of on, or hinged, really. So, like, and same with Sam. Like, Sam, if you go back to, was it Winter Soldier when he's introduced? First, I think the first time we see him, he's working to rehab veterans. Like, he's had a good heart. He's been a pure heart person from the jump, from the very intro. And, like, now us seeing more of that, and I think that even to a degree he still empathizes with John Walker even after what happens, definitely more so than Bucky does. Like, I don't think that he really wanted to fight John Walker in that moment. I think if he could have reasoned with him and had him just hand over the shield, that would have been the ideal outcome for him.
I don't think Sam wants to fight ever. I think he would prefer to resolve the issues without nonviolence. I appreciated the way that he spoke to Carly. Was that last episode?
That was last episode.
I really appreciated how he was able to reason with Carly. And I mean, it sucks that she killed Lamar after, but for the most part, she understood that, like, you don't have to just kill innocent people to get the job done. Like, let these people show how awful they are. And it stinks that he wasn't able to finish that conversation with her. I don't think he would have completely gotten Carly to turn herself in, but I do think she may not have gone off the rails as much if they had finished that conversation.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you, and I think that is something that Steve recognized early. And to my point, like, those are those character moments that I appreciate, because that was one of my like favorite character moments for him in last episode, was the fact that he continued to try to approach her, try to reach out to her, tries to just to communicate, get her perspective, try to get her to come to some moral reasoning behind her actions. Like, he's a very empathetic person, and that's the type of person that you want with that mantle, or at least that's the type of person that Steve wants with the mantle. The U.S. government clearly doesn't care. Not at all. But Steve understood, the importance of the character that is behind the title and the mantle, and holds the shield. Like that was very important to him. So like I like that we're seeing a lot of that come through in this, and also the fact that more to the point, the conversation that he has with Isaiah Bradley, and him listening to Isaiah and understanding his perspective, and really empathizing with him as well about what he experienced and what he went through, and the things that um, the U.S. government did to him and Hydra, and like everyone involved, and all the people and the other soldiers that were killed in those experiments. Um, he understands and he empathizes, and it you can tell it upsets him and it pisses him off a little bit in this episode. And I thought that all of that stuff is important, because I think if that doesn't weigh on his conscience as he, you know, as he bears this mantle, then he doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. Like he doesn't understand like the cultural significance of what he chooses to do, whether or not he decides to be and continue to be Captain America or not. As long as he understands, the value of where he is and what he has the opportunity to do in his position. Like if he doesn't get that, and if that's not something they continue to touch on with his character moving forward, then like they really missed a golden opportunity for the character.
I have to say, I was happy to see that Isaiah was willing to talk to Sam in this episode. I mean, it was real touchy when he left at episode 2. And I kind of felt bad for Sam in that moment, because like, dang, like the one person you probably should be talking to doesn't want to deal with you at all. But I was happy to see that Isaiah had that conversation with him and opened up about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I understand what Isaiah was saying so much that I feel like, not that Sam doesn't deserve to be Captain America, but does the title of Captain America deserve Sam? Like if it could be given to John so easily, that's where my issue is. Like almost like John Walker being Captain America tainted what Captain America is and what it stood for. So now, and knowing everything that Lamar went through and how, he was Captain America, but then they did him so dirty, I wouldn't even want that on me. So I think that's where my struggle with that is.
Yeah, for me, that I think that speaks to the character, Sam's character. Like he's just different. Like I think that's why he is
He's
the
built.
ideal person for that, because like it's not everybody is going to. I agree. Like I don't even think I would. I probably wouldn't even take the mantle if it were given to me. Like because of what Isaiah Bradley, but I'm not Sam. You know what I'm saying? So like I think at the same time, I think that's really the key aspect of his character. And something else that we're going to have to, I hope that is the juxtaposition that we get in the next episode, because of what they set up in that end credit scene, like, and what we saw in last week's episode. Like we see the world has seen John Walker and who he truly is. So now the world will have to see that person versus Sam, and we'll get to see who Sam really is. Like Sam actually get the spotlight. This is his opportunity. This is like where the world gets to judge like who's the better character, like who is it that they want to go with moving forward. And like that's really going to put pressure on not only the rest of the world, but really the US government, because they picked this dude to be Captain America, and Sam, and Steve picked Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been since Winter Soldier, Steve versus the U.S. government, because he has been in opposition of a lot of what the government has tried to do with the Avengers, and like all. So like there's been this subtle, this minor friction between Steve and the U.S. government, and Steve giving Sam this mantle, and then the U.S. government going like, nah, we want this dude. Like now it's still that kind of that debate, that friction still lasts, and now we get to see like who it is that the people really want as the next Captain America. Because I think the reception from the government, and I don't know, I'd like to see how they handle that in next week's episode. Because like, I think that I think the way that they'll handle it is the world will see. Hopefully, they'll see Sam in the same light that they saw Steve. Hopefully.
I can't say if they're going to see Sam and Steve in the same light, but I can say they're definitely going to make a comparison between Sam and John. And I think there's going to be a moment in next episode how, John was covered by cameras, surrounded by cameras at the end of episode 4. That there's going to be a moment like that in this episode for Sam, and he's going to handle it completely different. I think that's what's going to do him in. We already know that there is a criminal specifically looking to target him in the next episode, not connected with the Flag Smashers, just someone who wants to hurt Sam. And I'd like to see how Sam handles that, because he's not a murderer. Have we seen him kill anyone on screen besides an alien?
I mean, not directly. I guess you would consider so whenever he did the thing. I think the first episode when he took down that helicopter. I guess that kind of counts because they were technically shooting at him. He hadn't killed anyone innocent. Let's say.
Okay.
If he's killed anyone, it's always been in self-defense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. He's not murdered anybody in cold blood.
He technically hurt the helicopter.
What? He hurt the helicopter?
Didn't he shoot the helicopter down?
Well, they fired at him, and I think he flew through the helicopter, and the missiles redirected into the helicopter. And
that's not murder. That's
what I'm saying. That's not murder. That's more self-defense. Like, and right. He wasn't on the offensive. It was more of a defensive thing. So like, he hadn't killed anyone in cold blood. He hadn't killed anyone that was innocent. That's a little different. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he just villains really. Like, he's always been on kind of sort of the defender and not the offender. So yeah, they're just two different characters, and he's been with Cap, so like he's the dude. He's the one. He's the chosen one. Now, socially there are some there are a lot of things that they could do with this. I'm not sure if Disney and Marvel will go into that direction, but there would definitely be some animosity towards a black Captain America. And if they do that, like, there's a way to handle that isn't like just forced, if you will. Like, just handle it. They can handle it in certain ways where it feels authentic to just the overall social political landscape of today, and like, but not forced agendas. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the easiest way to do that would just be to mirror reality, because even though this is fictional, this is based off of a comic book, and these things did not happen, we are going to see real people on social media upset to see Sam with Captain America. Exactly. This is not a real person. There are going to be people upset. I've already seen people on the internet upset with the idea of Isaiah Bradley. Oh, they're trying to push this stuff down our throats, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
There were people upset about Black Panther. So I don't think it's going to be difficult to make it not forced, because they have all of the source material for them already. Like, it's there.
It's part of the story. I mean, it's Isaiah Bradley's story partially. Right. And then on top of that, like, it's not like this is a new concept, this new storyline within Marvel. It's been there. It's like, this is not brand new to the scene. However, they cannot ignore it. Like, it has to be addressed in some capacity. Like, they can't continue forward with this story as Sam being Captain America without touching on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel about it.
Well, we do know that Eli Bradley is going to be Patriot at some point. And so for that, I believe we're going to see both the same actor who played Eli, and we're going to see Isaiah Bradley's character again. So I would not be surprised if that conversation is tied to them somehow.
Eli's story is going to be for it is. Oh man, that's gonna be that should be good, yo.
I mean, it's a black.
It should be good.
Like,
Like,
gonna be people who are upset about that. So yeah, I'm thinking we will see it. I don't know if it's going to happen right now because we already know there's a whole bunch of problems that are going to pop up with time. Is there even going to be a moment? Like there might be a couple jokes here and there or a couple comments, but nobody has time for those conversations when the world is about to explode again. So I think that would be, I mean, we're also going to get Miss Marvel, who's Pakistani. So those conversations are going to come a little later, but we'll get them.
yeah, I mean, because yes, for sure. And I get how old? Well, no, I don't know how old that character is, but there's definitely, and she's in New York, right?
I believe so. I can check now, but I know Miss Marvel is young. She's probably going to be around the same age as Patriot.
Yeah, like there's not much age difference between them. And
Marvel 15.
I hope they also introduce Riri Williams. Hopefully, maybe in Iron Wars.
I think she's going to be in Iron Wars. I believe they said that during
Yeah,
the.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I feel like
I have it written down.
Like they brought that up. I think in that on that investor call. But there's a lot of characters, young characters. The Young Avengers team is assembling, slowly but surely. We've seen Eli Patriot. We've seen Torres is introduced in this because he does become the Falcon. He's the next one to take on that mantle. We will also see Speed and Wiccan at some point because they are also in the Young Avengers. Miss Marvel, like you said, did I say Kate Bishop?
I'm having a hard time finding where Miss Marvel is from.
I want to say it's New York.
Oh, she's from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Oh, she's from Jersey. Okay. That's what's up. And then Miles Morales too. And then Riri Williams. So like all these characters, and then is that the Young Avengers? Is that going to be a series, or is that an upcoming film?
About the Young Avengers is completely speculatory. I don't think Marvel has announced that in any way.
Okay, so I'm blending speculation right now. I do believe that will be a series. That should be a series on Disney Plus, as well as hopefully the X-Men.
Yeah, I just checked it. There's no
official news on
the
Young Avengers
about a film. When you Google it, it's only there's only like the comic series. I also do appreciate that a lot of the storylines that they're bringing in are newer. This is a little out of our topic for tonight, but Riri Williams' character as a whole is new. Didn't they announce her not long after we graduated?
That storyline, yeah, it's a 2000s storyline. I want to say. Let me double check that.
Ironheart.
Yes, it's a newer.
She was created in 2015.
Yeah.
That's dope. Oh, I had the year right and everything. Look at me. And she's 15. Oh, yeah, so all of that to say that I do absolutely believe that they will touch on Sam being Black and Captain America, but they'll do it when it's time to bring up Isaiah Bradley again. Or at least if it's not about Isaiah Bradley, if they do make it about Sam, we'll see Isaiah Bradley in that conversation. I don't think they'd be able to have it without him.
Yeah.
Because I do appreciate that there are Black Avengers now, there are Black characters, but there are also the Wakandans, and they have separate relationships, completely separate identities as far as race goes. Yes, they're both Black, but the Wakandans have only ever been on Wakanda.
Yeah, that's where they have their own nation. They're their own people.
The Black Americans and everything they've gone through, and that's why what's his name? Killmonger was so upset, in the Black Panther film, because what Black Americans were going through was completely different than what Wakandans were going through.
Yeah.
I wonder, does Marvel have Black heroes that are African but not Wakandan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Storm. Because wasn't I think Storm was born in Kenya but raised in Egypt, or she yeah raised in Egypt. I'm pretty sure she was born in Kenya though.
Uh, yes. She was apparently born in New York and in
Oh,
excuse
she was
me,
born in New York.
raised in New York and in Egypt.
Yeah. Let me see.
She's a descendant of an ancient line of African priestesses.
Yeah, and then there are a number of Marvel characters that appear in the Black Panther stories that are not from Wakanda but are from Africa. I don't know them off the top of my head, but not all of the not all the characters that he faces are from Wakanda. A lot of them are from outside of the. I mean, they're from all over the place, but a lot of the the black characters that he faces in the comics are from outside of Wakanda.
Can I just say one thing I will not tolerate in Marvel, and they better not do it, is diaspora wars. I'm tired of it on social media, and we definitely don't need them in Marvel.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the if they I think they can, as long as they continue down the path that they're going, because right now everything that they're doing is like is refreshing, and I think it's past time that we see a lot of these stories. But I feel like the direction that they're heading and them continuing to select the good writers and people who understand the culture and can be know how to raise awareness without uh how do I say, like, without being insensitive, because I think there's a series out right now by a certain writer that is black that that story is kind of questionable at the moment.
Yo,
So
it's gonna end like
I'm not gonna
there.
yeah
Listen, if that black family survives this show, I would be surprised because the way these people roll, if you don't
yeah
know what we're talking about, just stay oblivious, beloved. Please don't do this to yourself.
the thing is always to for me with fiction, like it has to remain optimistic. Like you can raise awareness to certain issues and certain social and political and cultural issues, but the resolution has to be one that is optimistic, because that's just like that's why we have superheroes. Like that's the whole point of these types of characters. Like they are supposed to be inspirational, and they're supposed to make us feel good. So that's don't make us feel like crap, basically.
Yeah, I think it'll do a good job. But
Yeah,
back
I
on
don't. Yeah, yeah.
um okay, do you think Bucky's arm got messed up in that fight? Because I saw some sparks and some like, do you
Yeah.
think his arm is okay? Because it also bothered me when he went to New Orleans to help Sam out. He did not use his mechanical arm, and he said, "Oh, I usually use my other arm." He did lift something with it later, but I don't know. That felt a little.
No, so he does. He did. So he took the whatever that boat part was that was heavy out of the back of the boat.
Mhm.
But he said, so the comment he made was like, because Sam asked him why he didn't use his Wakandan arm, and he
Mhm.
said, I don't really think about it because I'm naturally right-handed, and this is because it's his left arm, so I understand it's just not his first impulse to use it, being naturally right-handed. That was his explanation. But yeah, I think it got damaged slightly in that battle, but I don't think it's like a long-term issue. And then he went to Wakanda, so if there were any issues, I'm pretty sure he got it checked out before he got back to the States with the package, because that the suit was Wakandan.
You know
So
what? I don't know why. I just assumed that they brought it to him. I didn't think that he actually went to Wakanda in the episode. I mean, she told him like, "Yo, don't show up there. It's gonna be beef for you right now."
Oh, did she?
She said, "Stay clear of Wakanda for now, White Wolf," or something like that.
Oh, so I guess, I mean, maybe they did bring it to him, but where did he go in the meantime? Because did he stay in Sokovia?
I, I'm
Because
not.
they were outside of the. I mean, that was the. Zemo was at the Sokovian Monument Memorial, and then that's when Ao showed up, and then they had that exchange, and then he asked her for a favor. I remember. I don't remember the conversation that he had with her. I do remember him asking for a favor. I took that as, I don't know if he had to go to Wakanda to get it to you, but you might be right. They may have just like delivered it to him, and then he's now handing it off to Sam.
Got you.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, the
But
quote was,
I don't think it's going to be an issue.
"What did you say?" It would
Okay.
be prudent to make yourself scarf in Wakanda for the time being, White Wolf. And he was like, "Fair enough."
That
This
makes sense.
lady is so pretty. The actress who plays Ao, her name is Florence Kasumba.
Yeah.
She makes me want to shave my head. I'm not doing it, but if I were to look like this, I think I would be excited to do so. But I'm not going to do it. But she looks great.
Yeah. They all do their own stunts too, which is dope.
That's fire.
Yeah. Because I remember they had a like a training montage of the Dora Milaje in the during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and they were. I remember that little montage video they put out, but they all do their own stunts, which is cool. I'm pretty sure. Well, she was the first one that we saw. She started off the video. She was doing her um moves with the stick, with the sphere. Because what were they doing? They were like doing their like they were going through their combat sequences, and then they would toss the spear off screen, and then the next one would catch it, and they would do something else. Really cool little montage video. But anyway, so the end credit scene, we want to get into that now, since we've given people enough time to kind of go back and watch that.
No, before I get into end credit scene, I want to switch up, I think, my idea for next week as far as Carly and the Flag Smashers. So much stuff has happened that it's easy to forget about them. But I don't know if Sam's moment is gonna be with the criminal, the French criminal that she hired to help, because I realized I don't think she really hired this criminal to get those weapons. She did that to get Sam out of the way. I don't think she necessarily, I think she likes Sam and she doesn't want to hurt Sam herself, but she knows that as long as Sam is around, she won't be able to achieve her goal properly. He's going to get in the way, and she would let him get in the way because they have a relationship. So I think in a way that's kind of a betrayal on Carly's part as far as her relationship with Sam goes. Like, I think Sam is going to be almost like, in a way, like offended, like, wow, you really going to do me like this? Like this?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to get that out there while I was thinking about it. I'm, yeah. And maybe that moment for Sam won't come with the French criminal. It would be him against Carly. I think that's going to happen next week.
Okay, I agree with you, but I think also there are some key.
We can talk about the end credits
There's
scene.
some, yeah, there's some, but no, there's some key, because to your point, Flag Smashers. That's an important aspect of the story. One, do you think? Well, never mind. I won't. I think that Torres may pop up too in this next episode with the wings, for the first time, possibly. possibly because I think
I would hope
he.
not, only because if he could just show up and know how to use the wings and be good at it and all that jazz and just like come, not necessarily save the day, but be able to use them in action all of a sudden, and he's never trained with them, that's going to make me feel like, dang, like Sam, were you really as great as you thought you were? Like he could just roll up and do it. Like it shouldn't be easy. So I would hope that he can.
Hmm, yeah, I don't think there would be enough time passage to justify
He
that. Well, actually, it depends on how long they were out. No, I mean that would be a few days, but I don't know. I don't know. I think that he'll be working. It might be a cameo. It might be a tease thing, but I'm pretty sure that we'll see. We might see that. I don't know, but Power Broker, Thaddeus Ross, and I think I'm starting to feel like either Thaddeus Ross or what's my girl that was in the what's the blonde hair chick,
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter. I think either Thaddeus Ross or Sharon Carter is the power broker. Like
Um,
Sharon Carter's making me really suspicious now because she does. I don't understand why, um, where she's been. Like she just, it just seems, it is almost she's like conveniently absent from all of this.
okay, so although I'm not a fan of speculation, I'm leaning more towards the Thaddeus Ross idea, and that's because I watched the 2003 um, Hulk, and I didn't get to watch the more recent Hulk yet. But essentially, Thaddeus Ross's character was in there, and when Hulk turned, he wanted to, run tests on Hulk to see how he could make more Hulks.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
believe that happened in the Incredible Hulk movie as well. So that just seems like he was trying to get the super soldier serum then. I wouldn't be surprised if, um, yeah, it's making more sense to me that it's Thaddeus Ross now. Like I'm having a hard time thinking it's anybody else.
Yeah, it's either him or someone. I mean, whoever it is, he's involved with it. Like, there's no way he's not involved because of the. I want to say that he's also responsible for the Weapon X program, which creates Wolverine as the most notable Weapon X project. But like, yes, he is. He basically took on the responsibility to recreate the Super Soldier Serum. Shoot, he might have been involved with the experiments on Isaiah Bradley in some capacity. We don't know, but like he is very involved in the Super Soldier Serum project later on. That's the whole reason why we even have the Hulk, because they were trying to recreate the Super Soldier Serum, and then they were Banner was exposed to the gamma radiation, and then boom, we get the Hulk, and then um, Thaddeus Ross is actually the Red Hulk. I don't know if you ever seen that character. There's a version of the Hulk that's red. It's not Banner, but that's Thaddeus Ross. So he takes a form of the Super Soldier Serum. Like I think they, I don't know that story. I'm not going to speculate on it, but like he's going to be very important because he also starts the Thunderbolts, and I think a lot of the characters that we're seeing in this series that are on the opposite end, like John Walker. Well, John Walker for sure, because he is one of the Thunderbolts as U.S. agent. Um, and for those who don't know the Thunderbolts, like the best comparison I can make is like they are the Marvel equivalent to the Suicide Squad. That's a rough comparison, not you know verbatim, but like that's kind of sort of the idea. Like they're just a bunch of anti-heroes and anti-villains that who have a they're moral. They're flawed. Their moral compass is a little off. Like Deadpool, I think was involved with the Thunderbolts at one point. U.S. Agent is definitely one of the key members of the Thunderbolts. I want to say, but I even think that it's possible. I'm thinking about WandaVision now. I'm going off on a tangent, but what's my man that was doing the? You said he was a scroll, the director.
Mm-hmm.
He's either a scroll or he might be recruited by Thaddeus Ross to become a one of the Thunderbolts as well. Like he would make sense given his connections.
To do what? You
Like
to lead the Thunderbolts because he's not actually, he wasn't fighting. He
Could
wasn't.
be in a yeah, he could be in a supervisor, like he could be in a supervisor role. He could be. It's possible that he might show up in some capacity as one of working with Thaddeus Ross. Um, it wouldn't surprise me because of how he would be someone that Thaddeus would probably have on his radar. But no, he wouldn't be a field agent. But yeah, he'd be involved in some capacity. That's what I would speculate. Um, but yeah, so the end credit scene, because I'm so there's a lot I can speculate on, but
Yeah,
like I was like,
then,
I won't do any further.
all right. If you didn't see it, we've told you several times to go watch the end credit scene. But basically, at the end, you got your boy John Walker further losing his mind because his mind was lost. I mean, in this episode, he said to those people, "I am Captain America," and they were like, "No." But in his head, he did not hear that at all. And I mean, we even saw him during the fight, like completely losing his mind and trying to kill Sam. And then at the very end, you see him creating his own shield, which, by the way, I was upset by how great his shield looked. Like, how do you go from soldier to just like fully certified welder? I didn't appreciate.
I don't know, man.
But
Comic book logic.
I really hope there's a scene next week where somebody hits it and it just falls apart. Like,
See,
please.
that's why Torres can become Falcon like overnight, because he all of a sudden he just takes some test flights and he's good.
He can't become Falcon because
I'm
then
just saying.
it's the only way I would be cool with it is if he like falls out and crashes and cannot participate in the fight at all because he is unskilled with the wings. That's the only way.
I don't think he's gonna be like Sam. Like, you know how Sam was flying through helicopters and all, like he was doing all type of crazy stuff. I think he could do some basic stuff with the wings at least. Like, I mean, Sam became a pro with the shield toss in, like, I don't know how long was that training montage with the shield. That seemed to go days. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how long he was training. I'm not saying that this is it's not gonna make or break the episode for me for Torres to pop up with the wings, but I'm not. I'm just saying it's not beyond the realm of possibility for him to pop up.
If he does, they need to make it clear that he don't know what he doing. I will say that.
Yeah, he can't be as skilled as Sam is, but I think that he can have at least some basic understanding of how to fly with the wings. Like, he can't be pulling off any like fancy crazy maneuvers, but I think he should be good enough to at least like, maybe not, how Sam uses them to fight and all that stuff. Like, I don't think so. I don't think he should be that proficient yet, but I think as far as like being able to travel with the wings and then use the wings kind of like as a jetpack just to get from point A to point B, I think he can at least have that part down by the time this final season comes around, because I think he's going to pop up in the episode, because he's the one who told Sam about where they're going to be. So like, I feel like he's going to appear, but the question is whether he'll have the wings or not.
I'm hoping that he's working as support. But I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up with the wings now too. But back to Fake Cap and his fake shield, his fake Home Depot shield. I'm telling you, they need to do that. Someone needs to throw something at it and it needs to just collapse. Like, it needs to fall apart like freaking, what's the game? Jenga? It needs to fall apart like Jenga.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically what it's got to be steel. It's not like it's adamantium or vibranium. So technically, Sam's shield should be able to break it, because whatever that shield is made of, it's either going to be adamantium or it's going to be vibranium to just stay with consistency. But like I said, like, that shield that he's wielding is not the shield from Endgame, because that one broke. So somewhere down the line, they went and got a new shield. So
I figured that
unless it's just an alternate, I don't know.
Shield. We know he goes back in time.
If he takes that shield, because technically, depending on how time works, but how I'm thinking the logic plays out, like in this alternate timeline, I don't, maybe not. I don't know. How did he travel back in his own time stream? Is my question. Like, because
I think he completely messed up time. I think I said this
that's
at
what I'm saying. Like, that makes no
before.
sense for him to come back with the shield.
Completely messed up time, and I think the Loki show is going to help us understand how they handle the different variants, because we see that Loki himself in the show
Is a
is
variant
of the real Loki. So hopefully this will explain what happens when a variant does something that it's not supposed to do and changes the future, and how that's going to affect people who are already in the future and how that affects their past. Because there's no way that Captain America going and not returning doesn't change things. So it's kind of hard to speculate right now because we don't know how it changes, but I don't think this is a new shield. I think this might be a Cap from back in the day shield. So how
and
does
I'm saying that, and that's my point though, because if it's a Cap from back in the day, then either they had to get another vibranium shield to make, or he made this out of something else. Like, he found another material to make it. Like, there's an easy way to explain like how they got the shield, because the whole thing with the shield was that this was made of vibranium. It's extremely rare, and it was like a one of one. That specific shield. So like, if he travels back in time and takes that shield, then what shield did that version of Captain America use when he comes out the ice? Or actually when he goes into the ice, because it's like, because he went into the ice with the shield.
he went
So
inside?
like, how did he get that shield? Like, that shield has to be either he went to Wakanda and explained everything and got them to give him some more vibranium to make another shield, or my logic is that this is actually an adamantium shield, and that they will retcon that at some point in the future, and that'll be, once they start to introduce Wolverine and the X-Men.
Okay,
Because,
question.
like I said, the original comic book version of the shield was made out of adamantium.
I have a question.
Okay.
Captain America, in the 19 whatever, he's in the ice, right? Captain America from
1945
yes, he's in the ice, stuck, can't get out
with the shield.
with the shield.
And then 2000 is what, 2012,
Oh, okay.
2011. Like, how did he get that shield? I was so saying, this is a paradox. This is a problematic paradox
He go
they
back
can't ignore.
with the shield.
Did he?
Pull his eye. Keep. Let's just talk about how Walter Walker was losing his mind, and I'm gonna check to see what he went in back in time with.
Okay, yeah, because we got that's something that it has to get addressed. Like, maybe
I'm gonna look it up. You talk about John Walker losing his mind and making his own shield.
all right, but yeah, so he makes his own shield out of, I would say, regular, standard steel. Like, I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary. It's definitely not vibranium. Like, it seems like it's something that it's just, like I said, standard steel shield. Looks exactly like the original stars and stripe shield that the OG, that Steve Rogers had originally. And he's going to go basically into battle with this. And so now you're going to have, and it kind of explains for me why in the promotional material you see John Walker in this final episode, in where they're supposed to be in Washington. Oh no, not Washington. They're supposed to be in New York. He's fighting with the shield, and we see in this episode that, um, you know, Sam gets the shield from him. So I was confused initially from the promotional material whether or not they were working together in this moment, and somehow Sam got the shield at the end of the show, or like, how did all of that work? Because it wouldn't make sense for John Walker to have a shield and for Sam to have a shield. So now with that end credit scene, which is why I said that was a very crucial scene, and I hope maybe they'll touch on it at the very, very beginning of the episode next week. But if you didn't see that end credit scene, then like, you're going to go into next week's episode without any type of context for like how he even got another version of the shield. So like,
I can tell you that he goes back in time with Mjolnir, the hammer. He doesn't have a shield when he goes back in time at the end of it.
exactly. I was like, where did he get this shield from?
They're not letting me really see the shield? Because there's two designs of the shield. Oh no,
Yeah,
it's not the same
his it's
shield.
not the same shield. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that because the shield that Cap uses in the entire in the first in Captain America for one is the same shield that he fights with Endgame, but that shield gets broken. But this version of the shield, like the star, is actually like another like element. You know, it's like it's almost like the star is carved out the shield, and I feel like in the original shield it was just a part of the design. It's like they sprayed the star on, but like this was like a engraved star on the like the whole design of the shield is actually a lot different from
You know what?
Cap's original shield.
It's not. I think we're mixing up. On his uniform, he has a star that looks like an A, but
That's
the
U.S. agent.
itself, it's the same shield.
U.S. agent.
It's the same shield. I don't know, but it's the same shield. I'm confusion. Maybe it is a different shield. I don't know.
Let me see. See.
What does Google say?
It okay. No, it does look like the same shield, but he didn't go back in time with that shield. Still,
Okay, so if you go on Google right now and you type in what shield does Sam have, Google says in bold letters, white man's shield.
huh?
I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna share my screen just so y'all can see. I'm not tripping.
What?
Google gave me that answer.
Yo, that what?
I don't know.
Sci-fi.com. Okay. No, okay. So it does. Yeah, all right. I'm looking at the shield. It is the same. So the shield design does look exactly like the one from Winter Soldier, not Winter Soldier, but from the first Avenger, the first Captain America movie. However, I'm still confused as to how he got that version of the shield, a new version of the shield, because it looks like the exact same shield, but I don't know, man. They got maybe. I don't know.
That is
They have to explain that because that's a very serious loophole.
that's hilarious. I think they will.
That's a very serious loophole. Like you can't just ignore that. Like that's a thing.
And the uncle says right. This is the problem with time travel.
I'm trying to tell you, like they cannot not address that because like that's been bothering me about it.
They need the Loki show to explain how the variants work before they touch on that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
absolutely
But
have
see,
to do
and
that. Because
in
does that mean there were two Captain Americas at the same time, or like
they
how did
have to, yeah, they have to explain well because they two can exist at the same time, but like this shield thing. The only issue I don't have an issue with multiple versions of Captain America existing in the same time stream because Steve did go back in time as his future self and lived out his life from 1945 until 2017, 16, whenever Endgame takes place. But at the same time, there is the same Captain America is still in that time stream doing Captain America stuff and being Captain America at the same time. So if that's happening and he's doing it with the shield because his version of the shield one, he comes out the ice with the shield. So he didn't get that shield. You know, I don't know because I don't know. They got to explain that. They got some explaining to do
for my sanity, I'm gonna leave that alone.
until they touch on it. But I'm like, I'm not gonna.
It's gonna at least explain to the people how messing up time affects Earth 616, and then they'll touch on Cap at some point.
In that last Loki trailer, and it because this same point we're trying to make, like they ask dang, what's my man's name? Who's the actor that Tom Hiddleston is acting alongside? Owen Wilson. Owen
Yeah.
Wilson's character. Somebody asked Owen Wilson's character, what makes you think this variant of Loki is different, or this variant is going to work? Like is a very subtle line, but it's very important because that tells you that, for me, not only are there multiple variants of Loki, but they've worked with different variants of Loki in the past, and like they've gotten non-favorable results.
I,
You know what
I
I'm saying? So like they've had dealings with it, and like
yeah.
there's a rumor. I don't know if, yes, there's a rumor that they will see a female version of Loki in the series.
Um,
Like
I don't.
the scene in the trailer where it looks like they're in the soul dimension from like the soul gem. People
Yeah.
were like saying that was Scarlett Johansson. That was the Black Widow, but it's not. It's that's supposed to be the female Loki, or
Um.
Lady Loki. So like, yeah, there's the variant issue is something that they're going to have to really explain in that Loki series, as well as time travel.
They also have to explain exactly what Loki's power is, because I always thought he could teleport, but
He's
that made me realize he's capable of moving through time, right? No?
no, only with the time.
Well,
It depends. Nah, it depends. It
how does
depends.
he have
It
variance?
depends. It
He
depends.
has
It
to be able to
depends.
mess with time in some way. So
That's
that's
what I'm
why
saying.
I think the
The
Loki show.
time very no. Well, the TVA travels through time, and he's working with the TVA to travel through time. I don't think that Loki has the power to try to time travel. However, he can teleport, and in some instances, teleportation is a like a it's somewhat of a time travel thing, because you're traveling from one part of space across like a vast distance to another part. And so I don't know, they got to explain this. They got a lot of explaining to do in this Loki series come June. Like,
No more speculation
I
for
don't
me.
know, man. Doctor Who, this is like Doctor Who stuff.
No more speculation for me, because last week's episode we had people talking about we were going to see Will I Am's character on the show, and I'm
I don't
done
know. Yeah.
with speculation.
I don't
At
know who
this
said
point,
that.
I enjoyed this episode. I still think I like last week's episode better, but that doesn't mean that this wasn't a great episode. I'm excited to see next week, because next week we're gonna have um, Sam trying to calm Carly down, but then we're gonna have the French criminal dude trying to kill Sam, and then we have crazy Cap John Walker coming to kill Carly, but then also anyone who steps in his way. I think not only would he want to kill Carly, but he would also want to kill Sam and want to kill Bucky for telling him that he's not Captain America because he believes Captain America. So Sam has a lot of work cut out for him next week. I
That's
think
why we gotta see Thaddeus Ross next week. It just has to. Like, he has to be in that episode next week.
I'm not getting myself hyped because we did that with WandaVision. They said who Ralph was. They said Ralph. We were like, yo, Mephisto. And then it wasn't. So I'm not gassing myself up for the Power Broker next week at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if the character that's supposed to be the spoiler from the Black Widow movie is the woman we saw today.
Yeah. That's what I was under the impression. I think that she is, because so she is what is her name?
Like
Not
the
Consuela.
it was
Contessa, isn't it?
Valentina
It's a long name, but it's
Valentina
she.
Allegra de Fontaine.
Yes, aka Val. She's also known as she's a Shield agent, but she's also known as Madam Hydra. And that's why I'm thinking that that's the Black Widow spoiler, because she was rumored to appear in Black Widow.
Yeah. So as
So
far as Power Broker and all that jazz, I'm not getting myself hype for any of it because I've done that before and I don't need to do it again. I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to enjoy the show. We're going to see what they give me because we might not get the Power Broker. That is very I wouldn't put it against Marvel to not give it to us. Second Street, listen, I'm not saying I got too hype, but for 2 seconds I was like, oh wow, I'm not doing that. I'm done.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's I don't. Yeah, I when Spellman said that the character the cameo was a grounded character, but they were more excited about the actor or actress that was playing them. Like I was like, all right, well, I'm not speculating on any big. Uh, well, that's what gave it credence that there could possibly be Will I Am. Like I felt like it was going to be an actor that we knew more, but the character that they were playing was someone that we most people wouldn't know who it is. And this is a prime example. Like, because I mean, for sure, um,
Julia Louis Dreyfus is a name.
yeah, she's a, I mean, that's a very prominent actress to land. Uh, I mean, being a co-star in Seinfeld and her starring in Veep, two critically acclaimed shows, like yeah, that's a big name for Marvel to land. But the character that she's playing is not very known by a lot of, definitely not average people. They wouldn't know who that is. Like this is a truly purely comic book character. Um, yeah, I'm not hinging. I'm not going to hinge my enjoyment of or hang my enjoyment of the episode next week on who may or may not appear, but there's clearly a lot of things that they're setting up as far as the future of the show. It's just a matter of when these characters are going to make their appearance because U.S. Agent is definitely John Walker. That's in the comics. So and U.S. Agent is also in the Thunderbolts. So at some point, Thaddeus E. Thunderbolt Ross is going to make an appearance, and we will form these um this Thunderbolt cast. But we've seen a lot of the characters. I believe Zemo is also in the Thunderbolts as well. He makes an appearance at some point. So we're seeing all of this. I wouldn't be surprised if what's her name becomes a Thunderbolt. Yo, is Sam gonna? I forgot. We didn't talk about that because Sharon Carter. The promise that Sam made to her was that he would get her uh, pardoned.
I mean, he can't do that unless he turns America in his favor and
That's
lets
what I'm
people know
saying.
that he's valuable. So we'll see. But
So
I
like if
don't think she's okay. I just said I wasn't going to speculate, but I think she's deep, deep, deep undercover.
I feel like I feel the same way. Like she didn't reveal her true reasons for being there. Like one, yes, I think she is on the run. I think that's true, but it wouldn't surprise me if she's working with Thaddeus Ross in some capacity already.
I would truly hope not. The idea of her becoming a criminal just didn't sit well with me, and he
I don't
doesn't.
know about that, but he would definitely be able to honestly offer her a pardon. Like she if she agree, I can see a circumstance where let's say Sam can't get her pardoned or um I don't know, but I can see a scenario where because of her skills and her talent, Thaddeus Ross would approach her and ask and say, "Look, if you work with me on this, I will get you pardoned," because he does have the authority and power to do so. I don't think Sam would like that. That would be Sam hinging upon like calling some favors with people. Like I don't know, he has that type of sway, but Thaddeus Ross absolutely does. So I wouldn't be surprised if she agreed to work with him in his upcoming Thunderbolt project show, whatever that may appear on Disney Plus. But anyway, I think that's it for the episode. I'm excited for next week. This was a
I'm
um,
excited too.
really
Okay,
good episode.
what? There's a big break in between the end of this show and then the beginning of Loki. Is that just going to be the Bad Batches run on Fridays? Like, are they going to give that time slot? So it's just going to be Bad Batch every Friday?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
personal.
May the 4th is what, Friday? No. May the 4th is not a Friday, but it will be airing. Every episode will air on the Fridays following May the 4th week.
You know how many
So
episodes The Bad Batch is getting?
They have not said how many episodes the Bad Batch is. Now,
I'd be surprised.
depending on what they do,
I would be surprised if you get an episode on May 4th and then another one that same Friday.
I'm pretty sure that it's the May 4th episode is a double feature. It's the first two episodes in the show on May the 4th, and then the next episode, episode 3, will premiere the following Friday. Now, how many episodes? Who knows? Clone Wars was like 22 to 24 episodes. I think Rebels was like 12 to 15. I want to say, maybe I might be wrong. And then of course you got the Mandalorian coming in at like 10 episodes of a season, which would mean that those shows would basically Loki and Bad Batch would basically be running at the same time. Now, did they commit to a Friday release date for Loki on Disney Plus, or is that something that we're just speculating?
It comes out on June. It was June 11th, right? June 11th is a Friday.
Yeah, I know each of these are coming out on Friday. It's just a matter, are they going to continue releasing these episodes on Fridays, or are they going to move and spread it out during the week? At some point, they're going to have to do that because, like, that's going to make things complicated. If that's I don't know how I'll handle that. I guess Fridays will be the reviews. Either I could do reviews Friday for the Bad Batch, or I can do it on Sundays and just keep with the Star Wars Sunday theme. I don't know. We'll figure that out when it gets here. But an episode review will go up on May the 4th for sure for the Bad Batch. That's definitely going to happen. That I can guarantee. Now, following weeks, I don't know. Because I feel like if Loki is going to be on a Friday, then I would like to keep the Marvel show on the Fridays.
Got you.
So, yeah, I don't mind doing the Bad Batch reviews later in the week on Sundays. But yeah, this is all I got on this episode. Solid episode. Definitely looking forward to next week. It's definitely going to be hard to mess up next week's episode based on everything that they kind of sort of resolved in this week's episode. It really is just a matter of, next week should be action packed. As far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't be too much in the way of suspense. Can't be too much room for suspense outside of the action, of course, but I'm looking forward to it.
Gotcha. Well, that's all I got. Definitely hyped for next week too. But if you love us, please follow us on social: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch at Certified Gumbo. If you loved our shows, you love our channel, and you want to support us, please buy us some coffee. The link is in the description box below. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you love these conversations and you want to talk with us more, we're always talking about this stuff. So please join us on Discord. The link is also in the description bar below. And then tomorrow on Cookout, community discussion. I've been talking about it. Now is the time. Tomorrow we are ranking the Marvel films from best to worst starting tomorrow. By the end of all these ratings, we should have fully rated every superhero film that we want to include in this list. But tomorrow we're just doing, not Marvel, we're doing the MCU specifically, only the MCU, starting with Iron Man 1 and ending with Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, by order of release.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not release order. That's a chronological order. Technically, if you're starting with first, just so every MCU film, because that wasn't the first Avengers, not the first MCU film. Technically, it's Iron Man.
I said Iron Man.
Did you? I thought you said Captain America. Never mind. I don't know. I'm tripping. Yeah. So the 20 the 20 some MCU films that have already released. And WandaVision.
No, because it's not a movie.
Still only movies. Cool, perfect. So yeah, look forward to that next week. Or next week, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, Star Wars Sundays. High Republic Phase 2, I think that's what they called it, Phase 2. Whatever. They announced that, what the lineup is, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, as well as Grand Admiral Thrawn, some more. and the Bad Batch, because we got some news to talk about. That's it. That'll be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So if you're a Star Wars fan, make sure you tune into that. Or if you just want to hang out and listen to me talk about Star Wars. Either or. Whatever. I'm cool with it. As I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you always.